Michael Jordan said a lot of things over the course of his basketball career, many of which were, frankly, unprintable. But if you look at some of his quotes that were plastered on posters over and over again, you will notice that a lot of them had to do with not being afraid to fail. I was thinking about that last night while watching Luka Doncic. At 19 years old, Luka clearly has no fear, and this is not because he thinks he's going to be flawless, but rather because he already seems to understand the pursuit of the spectacular is reckless business. Of course, when trying to thread an insane pass, he's gonna cough up the ball sometimes. Okay, more than sometimes. He spent much of this season ranking inside the NBA's top 10 in turnovers. And of course, some of his shots are ridiculously low percentage. But when they do go in, oh man, is it magic. You had to have seen it by now, right? What happened last night at the end of regulation against the Blazers? The Mavericks were basically out of time, still down by 3. I mean, there were 0.6 of a second left on the clock. That is not even enough time to get out an entire sneeze. And yet somehow Luka did this to send the game to overtime. Watch it again. It is ridiculous. Oh, just, from the,
wow.
Yeah, there you go. And then take a look at some of these stunned faces of the Blazers players. Meanwhile, Doncic strolls back up the court like he expected it to go in all along. Again, no fear of failure. It's the same instinct that drove Luka earlier this month when he went on that 11-0 run all by himself to push Dallas past the Rockets. Did you know that before he started this outburst, he'd been 3 for 13 on the night? Didn't matter. He wasn't weighed down by not succeeding, only filled with the bravado of what he might do the next time he got the ball in his hands. There's irony, of course, that Luka plays this way. I remember being on our TV show for draft night, watching first the Suns pass on him, then the first the Kings, then the Hawks take him, but only as part of a trade where they would send him to Dallas for Trae Young and the cushion of one of the Mavs draft picks. I said at the time, it seemed like a lot of these general managers were driven more by the fear of failing, of being wrong on Doncic, than they were willing to take a chance on him being the player who'd most help him succeed. And that's nothing against DeAndre Ayton or Marvin Bagley or Young, who I think will all be players to be reckoned with in this league. But all of those players were inarguably safer choices. Luka was the mystery, tantalizing because of what he'd already accomplished in the EuroLeague, but also carrying the ghosts of all the European players before him whose games had never quite translated to the NBA. It took Mavs GM Donnie Nelson, who has nearly Teflon credibility with owner Mark Cuban, to push the button and take the risk on Doncic. And while Dallas is still a largely rebuilding team, still largely short on wins, Luka is averaging 19 points, 6.5 rebounds, and nearly 5 assists per game. The only rookies to average a line like that over the past 40 years are Grant Hill, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and yes, Michael Jordan. And it is way, way too early to know if Luka will end his career keeping that same kind of company. But it sure is a good start, the kind of start you only get if you are not afraid of how messy chasing brilliance can really be. So, Scottie, what do you think? You were one of those guys who was never afraid of failing, never afraid of taking risks. What do you think is so special about Doncic as a rookie?
Well, the fact that he's a rookie, he's just got that no fear. But I think it's his short memory. The fact that this kid has already played international ball, he has the experience, so he has that no fear. But he just has a good feel for the game. He's a special talent, and not too many times you find players, rookies especially, coming in and able to fit right in. I mean, he's came in and looked like a professional player since day one. You haven't seen any of the rookie sensation in this kid. He just has a good feel for the game. He makes his teammates better, and he's one of those players that you enjoy watching.
Yeah. I thought Steph Curry said it best the other night, guys. He said, this kid has swagger. Yeah. And when you're 19 years old and you're coming in the league and you're trying to make an imprint on everybody, to play like this, to hit shots like that, you know how talented he is when you watch him on the floor. But then you start listening to Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and they're going, yeah, this kid's going to be a problem, and he's a problem right now. It's the confidence that he brings to Mavs, and it's the confidence that these guys who have been in the league for a long time already have in him. That's what's impressive to me.
I mean, it's funny, Scottie, when you say, oh, he came in ready. Look, I'm thinking about when you came in, right, from college, your first year in the NBA. The lights had never been that bright back where you were. So the idea of making a mistake, you have a long memory on those kinds of things because you don't want to mess up in front of everyone. This kid was playing under the lights in the EuroLeague for years. And that's part of what we're seeing right now. He knows that he can just get back up and do it again.
Well, his growth and maturity from playing in the Euro League is definitely showing. I mean, because there's not many rookies can come in and make the impact that he makes, and especially playing the point guard. He's running a professional team night in and night out. He's helping them to execute. They're putting points on the board. And not only that, he's the guy that's making the plays down the stretch. So that says a lot about him, his experience, his maturity. But, you know, he's a heck of a player.
And everyone knew that he would probably be the most pro-ready coming in because he did have that experience.
Yes.
I think some of the GMs were concerned that he wouldn't be able to grow from there as much or have as high a ceiling. We heard, of course, out in Sacramento, Dave Yeager saying, I don't think he actually has a ceiling the way people thought he does. So it sure is looking like it.